Ladies and gentlemen, pause your scroll for just one moment because right now, a bright 10-year-old boy's soul is getting publicly mutilated, and this podcast is his voice. The internet is erupting over a Kaun Banega Crorepati episode where a 10-year-old from Gujarat took the hot seat and he dared to be exactly what he is, a raw, unfiltered 10-year-old child who's still learning the fragile art of growing up in a world that forgives adults but crucifies kids. The social media exploded, branding this boy as Badtameez, which literally translates to being ill-mannered and arrogant. Trolls everywhere, memes flying, and everyone suddenly an expert in psychology, parenting, and child behavior. But I really want to cut through the noise in today's episode. But before I do that, a word for the host, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Mr. Bachchan was impeccable as always. He handled it like the legend he is, dropping subtle hints to the kid. Be careful with your decisions, son. Now that was a class act. No drama, just pure wisdom. And the way a young kid, 10 years of age, should be advised to get and become a better person. Well, now enters Mr. Dhruv Rathee with his massive 30 million plus followers on YouTube alone. And I'm not just blaming Mr. Rathee. I'm equally, and actually I'm holding Sony Entertainment TV or even Sony Live more responsible than Mr. Rathee, but that'll come later on. Mr. Rathee has more than 30 million plus followers on YouTube, and that's why he gets the priority, because his viewership and his ability to influence masses with their opinion is much more than Sony Entertainment. Now Mr. Rathee, he drops a video with a thumbnail screaming, "Badtameez Kid." Oh, and to play it safe, he slaps a question mark on the end of Badtameez Kid. It's like that some shield of political correctness. He plastered the boy's face right there on thumbnail, next to Mr. Bachchan, who seems to be distressed in the shot. What kind of a projection in the thumbnail was that? It was made to project as if Mr. Bachchan was distressed at the boy's behavior. However, if you look at the KBC episode in question closely, that is not how Mr. Bachchan behaved. Believe me, Mr. Bachchan is much more compassionate and wiser than any of you guys who are trolling this young boy 10 years of age. Coming back to Mr. Rathee's thumbnail. Come on, the thumbnail that you use, Mr. Rathee, that thumbnail doesn't educate. That thumbnail doesn't inspire. That thumbnail does what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to exploit, and it exploited. You got more than 6 million views on your video. And not just you exploited him, you exploited him cruelly. You might wonder why I'm calling out Mr. Rathee when the internet is already roasting this young child. Simple. I truly believe Mr. Rathee is one of the fearless, responsible voice we could trust. A responsible voice which had the compassion. But today I am disgusted and disappointed. I'm disappointed with Mr. Rathee, who has ditched his credibility and hopped on to the cheap influencer bandwagon. He joined them by chasing clicks, riding on the back of a 10-year-old child, projecting him on thumbnail, which seemingly was to discuss about the generation that we have today, the youngsters that we have today. Slapping a 10-year-old's face next to Badtameez on a thumbnail isn't a slip. It's a vicious, shameful stab at a child's soul. Was it his insensitivity or was it his carelessness? Either way, Mr. Dhruv Rathee crushed a kid for clicks. This is despicable. This is unforgivable. In this episode, I'm ripping open this child's public lynching from 3 burning angles. Angle 1, and that's where this public lynching or I would say that's where the foundation of this public lynching was laid. This question will find answers to: did Sony TV exploit and abuse this kid for those sweet TRP ratings? Angle 2. I'll find answers to questions: did Mr. Dhruv Rathee just publicly lynch a 10-year-old kid and turned him into a cautionary tale? And yes, the word lynch means joining online mob shamming and does not in any way indicate or mean physical harm. Last but not the least, the angle 3. Was the kid's behavior really crossing limits? Limits of being irreparable and making him a Badtameez soul? Or in this age of consumption culture, we all are just overjudging and being hypocrites? Now, to start with where it all began, Sony TV. This wasn't a live show, folks. Sony TV, they recorded it, they edited it, and they chose to air it, knowing fully well the storm it would brew. A 10-year-old kid, fresh in the public eye, acting out under the lights, and no one on sets pulls him aside and tells him or counsels him on how he's coming across, on how telling him that, boy, you're not coming across as a confident kid, you're coming across as an arrogant kid. And they should and they must have counseled him right there when they were handling a 10-year-old kid. The staff saw the footage. The staff would have spent hours of time editing the footage. And for sure the staff, as well as the producers, as well as the directors, as well as the editors of this show, they knew the impact on this kid's life. And still, they hit the broadcast for those juicy TRPs. They used him. They abused his innocence for ratings and TRP. In the cutthroat world of TV, a controversial kid equals eyeballs. But at what cost? A child's mental health? Sony Entertainment and Sony Live. You had the power and the tools and the capability to edit it out, to protect this young kid. You had the ability, knowing fully well how he would be perceived out there when the episode hits live. But you did not choose to tell him. Instead, you threw him to the wolves. That is utterly disgraceful. Now coming to the angle 2, Mr. Dhruv Rathee and his public lynching. Let's call it what it is. Mr. Rathee, he abused that young kid's photograph to hook viewers. He slapped it on his thumbnail like a bait, joining the gang of fake influencers who thrive on outrage. If his real goal was to question Gen Z behavior or the kids of today, or even the spotlight issues with a 10 years old attitude, fine. But why drag the kid's face on it? Be sensitive, man. Using a child's image to publicly sham him and set an example? That's not just journalism or activism. That's digital mob justice, and you became a part of it. Now let me ask, what authority does Mr. Rathee even have to dive into a child's psychology here? Sure, he's a mechanical engineer, sharp mind, no doubt. But pontificating on a 10-year-old's mental state? Even people like me who have led multi-million-dollar change management projects across the globe, we know better than to touch human psychology without prose. We hire experts for that in our products and projects. But Mr. Rathee, he's turning into a screen hero, latching into trending topics of views without a thought for the fallout. And here, I would really like to mention that I've seen a major commercialization of Mr. Rathee's content these days, since I've been following him from day one. But believe me I see a shift, and a shift not for better, a shift for commercialization. And that's the reason this young guy's photograph was added as one of his rules of commercialization. Does Mr. Rathee even realize the damage? This could crush that kid's confidence, stunt his growth, all because some influencer got overeager. And that influencer is not a small time influencer. That influencer carries 40 million people behind him. 40 million people who trust his words. I'm not even touching the video's content here. That's another debate. No, this is about the thumbnail. It reeks of desperation, not the thoughtful Dhruv Rathee I once knew. Wake up, Dhruv. You are better than this. Finally, the big question. Was this young boy Badtameez or arrogant? Well, my answer, yes and no. To understand this answer, put yourself in this young kid's shoes. A 10-year-old suddenly face to face with a megastar like Amitabh Bachchan. And this 10-year-old kid is the center of attention of a megastar, of a personality like Mr. Bachchan. Then you have hundreds in audience at the studio. The whole nation watching, and even adults like us would lose our cool. We will go overboard. Remember our own childhoods? Getting attention from family, we would overreact. Overreact just because it got laughs. This kid, same thing. But in digital age, where social media lynching is the norm, and this one was spearheaded by none other than Mr. Dhruv Rathee. Why do I say he wasn't truly Badtameez? He just got overwhelmed and hyperactive, which is normal for a 10-year-old kid. Remember, this kid has just got on his journey of do's and don'ts. He's just got on his journey of the societal norms and what is generally acceptable public behavior. And yes, there is a thin line between overconfidence and arrogance. A thin line which even we as adults, we cross many a times. Should we crucify him publicly for it? Don't you think this public crucifixion will cause an irreparable damage to this young kid's psychology, soul, and growth? Watch the video closely. See his leg movements, constant fidgeting, a clear sign of hyperactivity which the kid is not able to control. His nerves exploding. And if that doesn't convince you, listen to what he says when he was out. Listen to what he says with tears in his eyes when he was out. The disappointment, it hit him. Those weren't just words. Those were tears of failure. But no one saw that compassion-worthy side. Look at this young kid who says, "Tomorrow is your birthday, sir. And I heard that you need to earn or you need to win 1200,000 rupees Indian, or I would say 1200,000 points Indian, to get an opportunity to take a photograph with you." And with tears in his eyes, this young kid says, "I will not get a chance, sir, to get that photograph with you." Those weren't just words. Those were tears of failure. Those were tears of acceptance of his arrogance, and I would rather say overconfidence. But no one saw that compassion-worthy side. Why? Not even a single sentence this young boy told Mr. Bachchan without using the word sir. Why in today's world aggression and arrogance gets clicks and compassion is buried down there, and at a gullible age of 10, that act is heartbreaking. This guy doesn't need aggressive moral preaching. This guy needs compassion. Now, my message to Mr. Rathee. Mr. Rathee, change that thumbnail now. And if possible, please issue or please try to do some damage repair and try to build this young kid's career with your kind of reach that you have. Make one video or do one post which shows the humane side or the sensitive side of you which I once respected. Imagine the pain it's inflicting on this young kid. You are influencing billions. Please use it to build and not to break, especially with young kids. My sincere message to Mr. Bachchan: so please step in on your ex account. Share your viewpoint on this boy. Your words could save a budding, energetic kid, molding him into a success story we will all cheer for. My message to the kid's parents: you have raised a wonderful, confident kid. All you have to do now is to help him channel that energy. Teach him the thin line between confidence and arrogance. Believe me, he's a smart kid. He has got fire and he will shine as he learns. And I'm more than 100% sure this guy will make you proud. People, my message to you: let's stop the hate. This isn't entertainment, it's a child's life, for God's sake. Share this if it stirs your soul. Let's protect our kids and not destroy them. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.